Hello and welcome to What's Your Story? I'm your host, Dr. Lisa Schuster, standing here in Evanston on Central Street, where it meets Central Park Avenue at the Mitchell Museum of the American Indian. Outside they have a beautiful prairie garden, and inside there's so many beautiful things to see, so please come join me as we find out more about this American Indian Museum. I'm standing here at the front desk with Lisa Davis, and so I notice here at the front there is a library. Could you tell us a little bit about the library?
Sure. Our library is filled with books that have been donated to us by our members. We have an extensive collection of books on Native American history and Native American culture. It is a reference library, so we welcome our members to come in and use our facilities, but the books really can't be checked out. We're just not set up for that.
You also have a museum store. Could you tell us about what a person will find there at the store?
Sure. We are members of the Indian Arts and Crafts Council, so as such we have pieces in the museum, be they our fetishes or our jewelry or our baskets that are made by Native American craftsmen. We have other items that are for the children that aren't made by Native craftsmen, and that keeps our prices down so the children that come in for the school groups can afford to take some of these souvenirs home with them.
Thank you, Lisa, so much for talking to us about the first floor of the museum and the library and the membership. Now I'm going to go upstairs and talk with the Executive Director, John Lowe. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming in today.
Absolutely. I'm here on the second floor of the Mitchell Museum of the American Indian with the Executive Director, John Lowe. So tell us what a person will find here on the second floor.
On the second floor at the Mitchell Museum of the American Indian, this is our temporary exhibit space. And right now we have a gallery show called Transfusion, which represents the creativity and energy and art of 4 Native American artists. 3 of them live in the Chicago area, 4th lives in San Francisco. And it's contemporary Indian art with an exciting and provocative contemporary sense to it.
And then you also have an area where it looks like there's a teepee and there's fire. What is that?
Absolutely. We're in the process of finishing the renovation of a space that we're going to call the Teaching Lodge, which has a full-size birch bark hunting lodge. It has a mural that's being painted by an intern volunteer from Northern Illinois University of a background, and it'll be a teaching space and a space for storytelling and for sharing.
Now, just to go back to the first floor really quickly, we talked about the library with Lisa and the museum store, and then you also have a video room, and I think you've got a new exhibit. Could you tell us about that?
Yes, we've converted the video room into more exhibit space and multi-purpose space, and so it's a first floor temporary gallery, and right now we're showing the photography of Tom Petrillo. The show is called Walls That Speak, Rock Art of the Southwest, and it's a beautiful show.
And now also on the first floor, as soon as a person walks in, they get to see pictures of the Mitchells, who I'm assuming started this museum, or I don't know anything about them, so could you tell us about the Mitchells?
Sure. John and Betty Mitchell are the founders of the Mitchell Museum. John Mitchell was a real estate developer and real estate seller, broker in the Evanston area, lifelong resident, graduate of Northwestern University, and along with his wife, Betty Seabury Mitchell, they began collecting Native American items of art, material culture, objects during their various travels across the United States. They collected so many items that they needed to essentially find a place to store and, even more importantly, share them. John and Betty Mitchell were always very much about education, and Betty Mitchell survives to this day, is still on our board, and that's really an essential mission of the museum, is education and sharing about Native peoples.
Well, I really appreciate your sharing the museum with us, and is there anything else that you would like to share before we say goodbye?
Just that I was very honored that you invited me to be on the show, and I would again invite your audience to be our guests at the museum, and I look forward to meeting you all soon.
Well, thank you.
P.
Thank you. What did you just say?
Bamapi.
Bamapi.
Bamapi. See you soon.
See you soon. Well, thank you, John, so much for your explanation of the museum and talking to us about your culture and sharing with us your story. And remember, each one of us has a passion. Each one of us has a purpose. And until next time, I'm your host, Dr. Lisa Schuster, for What's Your Story?